Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to the show. So, Manchester United have officially announced Ruben Amorim as their manager and revealed his start date at the club. He will start working for the club on November 11th, which gives Ruud van Nistelrooy the next 3 games in charge of Manchester United. Obviously, we've got that game against Chelsea, PAOK and Leicester. And then after the international break, we'll get to see Ruben Amorim in charge, his first game being Ipswich away. But we'll get stuck into this statement from Manchester United. And then I had prepped a video for you guys on Manchester United's 11 with Ruben Amorim. So we'll still go ahead with that video because not much else has changed apart from the fact United have officially announced the manager. So they say Man United is delighted to announce the appointment of Ruben Amorim as head coach of the men's first team, subject to work visa requirements. He will join until June 2027 with a club option of an additional year. Once he has fulfilled his obligations to his current club, he will join Manchester United on Monday, the 11th of November. Ruben is one of the most exciting and highly rated young coaches in European football, highly decorated as both a player and a coach. His titles include winning the Primeira Liga twice in Portugal with Sporting, the first of which was the club's first title in 19 years. Ruud van Nistelrooy will continue to take charge of the team until Ruben joins. Ruud van Nistelrooy as well is believed to be waiting for a meeting with Ruben Amorim to decide whether he will be staying at the club, whether he's wanted to stay at the club for further than he's already scheduled to be. So, that's the latest. Manchester United have officially announced Ruben Amorim as their next manager, but will have to wait 10 days for him to be in charge. Right, check out how Manchester United's 11 could look with their new manager, Ruben Amorim. Now, obviously, Ruben Amorim is a flexible tactician. We've seen it when he's had to use various other different formations, 4-2-3-1 or whatever, if the injuries or something has hit his side. But, you know, he has a plan and he usually sticks to it. And that plan is 3-4-3. Now, obviously, it may evolve. That is still learning, is still very young. But we'll be looking at what Manchester United could look like in that 3-4-3 formation that we have seen of his whilst he's been using it at Sporting. Now, he likes his sides to be obviously well organised, defend stubbornly and, stingily, and of course press very, very high as well. So Manchester United's players will be asked to do that. Now, let's have a look at that 3-4-3 formation. He's going to have 3 at the back, 3 centre-backs. Now, Manchester United obviously have Lenny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez, who will be well suited to this. I also think Harry Maguire as well will be very well suited to this. Obviously, I don't think Harry Maguire should be first choice at Manchester United. I've said this before, but he is a valuable member of the squad and he has flourished in a back 3 in the past. So you could get to see him there. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of Matthijs de Ligt and I think he can do well in the Premier League and I hope he does well for Man United. But we've also seen him have struggles occasionally in back 3s, whether that's for Holland and stuff, and then eventually maybe not be in the 11. Now, I hope that's not the case here. But we have to keep an eye on that and see how Matthijs de Ligt gets on with that back 3. And we've obviously seen in the past that maybe it's not his preferred formation. But who knows, maybe with the tactics that Ruben Amorim has, maybe he can adjust to that. And the overall style of play may suit him. Now, the 4 across the middle of the formation, on the outside of that, he's got 2 wing-backs. Now, he usually asks them to attack a lot. So they'll be dependent on their attacking abilities first and foremost, which is why I think we could see a surprise or 2 in who appears there. Now, obviously, you've got the likes of Dalot, Mazraoui, Luke Shaw when fit, Terrell Malacia, who are probably more suited to this role than most within the squad, although we don't have any natural wing-backs in Manchester United's team. So maybe he'll start to experiment. Maybe he'll start to try and pull a wild card out of the bag. And that's why I think maybe Amad Diallo could be used in a role in that wing-back position. Maybe Garnacho as well. We've seen with those lads, obviously, the position is heavily dependent on them attacking and getting forward. So they're good at doing that. So then you've just got to teach them what to do going backwards. So it'd be interesting whether he does try and experiment. Maybe Anthony. Oh no, I've just said that out loud, haven't I? I don't rate Anthony. He's been linked with a move elsewhere as well. I think eventually he'll leave. But he's going to have to try things, is my point, in terms of those wing-back positions. Although obvious shouts would be Dalot and Mazraoui in there. Now, the two midfielders in this four across the middle of this formation, the two midfielders, he's had Ugarte before in the past. Ugarte had his breakthrough season at Sporting. He led the league in tackles. He looked really good for him. Now, these two midfielders are going to be asked to sit there. Now, one will push on a little bit more. So you're going to have one in the mould of maybe an Ugarte, maybe a Casemiro in there. I actually think Casemiro could look really good here for the manager. And I think as well, Casemiro's been pretty good this season. I know we had the Liverpool game and I don't think he played well in that game. I don't think anyone really played well. He had a stinker though, particularly. But outside of that game, I think he's generally been good this season for Manchester United. I think Kobbie Mainoo could be used in the one alongside that Ugarte-shaped figure in midfield, and Kobbie Mainoo could be the one to push further forward. Will Bruno Fernandes be used in one of these roles? I'm not too sure. And it is weird. Where do we fit Bruno Fernandes into this team? Because as I go through the team, you'll see there's no real natural position for him. Obviously, we like to see him as the advanced midfielder, the advanced player in that number 10 position. So maybe you could play him as one of those two and allow him the freedom to go forward. But that player is going to be asked to do a lot defensively. Now, as we know with Bruno Fernandes, he likes to venture forward a lot. He likes that free role. Of course, Bruno Fernandes, if given a tactical job and a tactical plan and a role, I'm sure he'd stick to it. But there's no real standout position that you think he could occupy. Maybe one of the front three, and we'll get to that eventually. But these two midfielders, I think Manuel Ugarte could be the cornerstone of Ruben Amorim's team at the start, because he's someone that knows his style, knows his formation, knows his tactics, and he'll be someone that could be able to pass that on to his teammates quite easy as well. Someone else that I think could be of use in that midfield role, and I hope and I pray if he can get fit and on the pitch, I know, Mason Mount. He could be really useful in that position as well, because he has, if you've got one of Casemiro Ugarte in that kind of defensive role and then one of Mainoo or Mount in the other one, I think you've got a really good option and backup there. But it's just whether Mason Mount's fit or not. Now, in the three up front, you have those two inside forwards either side of the striker. Now, this is where I was asking, could Bruno Fernandes be able to play in that role? Now, what these inside forwards do is they create a box shape with the two midfielders. So they'll drop back a little bit, but also push forward and support and help the striker. They'll be very direct. They'll press hard. So Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, they fit into that role. As I said, wouldn't be surprised to see Ahmad used as one of the potential wing backs, but he could also play in that position. Bruno Fernandes, could he play there? What do you guys think? Let us know about this one. I'm a bit confused as to where Bruno Fernandes could fit into this team. Maybe it could be in one of those two positions, either side of the striker. Maybe even he could play as the striker as well. We've seen him play that before. Obviously, it wouldn't be the first choice, but when you look at the options that we have up top, and again, I do think the striker role is suited to Højlund's abilities. I'm not too sure on Joshua Zirkzee, whether he could fit into that role, because you need to be very high pressing, a direct figure as well, be running out to either flank as well, stretching the play, allowing one of those inside forwards to then push further into that space that the striker would vacate as well. I'm not sure Zirkzee is suited to that. So maybe you could see Bruno Fernandes used in that role. Bruno Fernandes is our captain. He's our leader. But it's just interesting to see where he would fit into this team. Because as I say, obviously you'll have Onana in goal. The three centre-backs, if I was going to pick them, you'd go with Lenny Yoro, obviously when fit. Matthijs de Ligt and Lisandro Martinez would be on the left for me. Then you've got across that four, you'd have the two midfielders of Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo, or Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo. I'll go with Ugarte for this instance because of the previous relationship with the manager, but I think Casemiro could still have a lot to offer United. Then those two wing backs, you go in with Delo and Mazraoui at the moment. Obviously, if Luke Shaw's fit, potential there, although I've given up hope on that. He's injured again, although there's rumours he'll be back for when the new manager's back. Surprise, surprise. Amad Diallo potentially, Anthony potentially, but I'd go with Delo and Mazraoui for now. And then that three up top, you go in with Rasmus Højlund, you go in with Marcus Rashford. Do you go with Garnacho? Do you go with Bruno? That's what I mean. Does Bruno Fernandes fit into the manager's 11? Will he force himself into it in any of the positions that we've previously spoken about? Maybe. But I don't know, it's just one of those questions that I was left with when doing this video. I thought, let's have a look at where Manchester United's 11 would be at. I know a lot of people have done it. But I just thought, where the hell does Bruno go? There's no strikingly obvious place. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Keep it locked to the channel. I'll be back very, very soon. But until then, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.